Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Claret and Boozecast. What is this now, John? Episode 5?
I don't know, Nick.
Four or
I'm busy. I have to work for a living. I ain't got time to count.
Sitting on your arse in the cabs, working. Of course it ain't.
You're sitting on your arse in your house.
This week, Gary's back from America. How long we been holding the fort, John? How long we been holding the fort?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's Boozecast night. He's off playing ping pong, isn't he? He couldn't make it tonight.
He's a ping pong champion, isn't he?
I know. So Gary couldn't make it, and we've had a last minute substitute. Andy Miles. I'm sure you're all going to know who he is. So Andy, thank you very much for stepping in, mate. Hopefully, it won't be your last show either. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Hopefully, I'll make a better impact than Moyes' subs, eh?
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so, mate. You know, well, if to be fair, if I was David Moyes, I'd have been bringing you on 5 minutes towards the end of the podcast. Yeah, that's generally what you do, isn't it?
How have we got 30 seconds in and we're talking about Moyes?
I know. Well, that was Andy's fault.
Yeah, that was it.
I know.
Yeah, I'm on Nick's side tonight. I'll back you up.
Yeah.
There we go.
See, we picked the guests
He only
well.
brings people on that are on his side, Andy.
I know, well, John, well, you're not Moyes anymore anyway.
No, but I don't hate him to your degree, to your extent. I never will hate him. I hate him.
Still sitting on that fence. But anyway, Andy is just giving us. He won't go around it now, but he's just giving us a tour of his magnificent bar that he's got. So the next one we'll probably be filming live from his bar. He's got tons of. It's a well-stocked bar as well, isn't it? Loads of booze.
Yeah. Or even shots. So we could do
well.
we could do a quiz. So whoever gets to shot roulette, we'll do a quiz.
There you go.
Or strip shot poker, something like that.
That'd be good. Yeah, I'd be better. I mean, quizzes I'm shit at. I'm terrible. So we'll bring Nigel around. He just wouldn't get pissed, would he? He'd be the only one not drinking. We'd all be laying on the floor. But listen, you all know the format of the show. That is, we ask the community to send in questions. It's your show. You ask us questions, and we talk about what it is that you want us to talk about. We've got a couple of voice notes as well that we're going to play. But I suppose before we get into that, we should talk about our captain, Declan Rice's performance tonight. I can't, as such. John watched the game. Did you watch it, Andy?
I watched probably after 15 minutes, so I got it perfect timing for the goal as well.
Okay, perfect. But John, do you want to take us through Declan Rice's performance tonight? How do you think he played?
Absolutely immense, mate. From start to finish, he was superb. Scored a good goal. Nice reaction from a Kane cutback on the corner. He got mistakenly booked towards the end of the first half. The referee thought it was Maguire, I think, and he got booked. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because he managed to go through the whole of the second half without even looking to get a booking. And the Italians were trying to get everyone sent off. Anyone on a booking, the Italians were up around the referee and all that.
Yeah.
I think it just shows the maturity of the man. But look, we've been debating it the last couple of days, me and you. We have, right? And we'll probably talk about this at another time. But we know what he's done for us. We know this season he hasn't been at his best, but he can't be superhuman in the team forever. We're going to miss him immensely. And a lot of people will go, I don't care if he's leaving. I care if he's leaving, right? He was superb tonight, and he will only get better once he leaves West Ham, I'm afraid to say.
Can I ask you both a question? I'll ask Andy. Did he look... no, listen, I can't answer this question, but I'm only going by what I've heard. I was listening to the commentary.
I know what you're going to say. Go on, ask Andy.
Did he look like he had a lot more energy, a lot more enthusiasm? Did he look a lot better tonight for England than what he does for West Ham this season?
God.
I'm just asking.
No, I think the stick what Graham Souness has gave him has just made him... that was just up yours, Souness, and he's going to keep quiet for a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah.
So
he's playing with better players, Nick.
I appreciate that, John. I appreciate that.
No, you don't, because you're saying it as another dig.
I'm not. I promise you. I'm not saying.
I mean,
listen, you know I love Rice.
He was playing with Harry Maguire, so I wouldn't say he's playing with better players.
Exactly.
Mate, I'll tell you what, Harry Maguire does not put a foot wrong for England, in my opinion.
Apart from the goal.
He got dragged out a bit, but I mean, there was 3 or 4, 5 passes after that, but I know what you mean. But yeah, in the main, I think he looks solid.
Yeah.
But look, nonetheless, that's the first time we beat Italy on their turf. What is it, since the 60s, isn't it?
61, I believe, but we haven't played them many times, have we? But
No, that's it.
we played well.
How did
It was a
how did
tough
how did
start to
how did
the
Skamaka look when he came on?
Brilliant.
Did he touch the ball?
Put himself about a bit. He's used to coming on at that time anyway.
He is,
And almost 4 minutes left, I think.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But look, anyway, what we'll do, we'll get into the questions. So this is from our mate Mickey Smith, who's been doing the decorating today. So he took a break in between his wallpapering to send us this voice note. So let me play this.
Hello, Claret and Booze. It's Mickey again. How's all doing? Right, to be honest with you, lads, I'm proper struggling with a question that ain't been asked. Or it's always the same thing. Now, don't get wrong, I could hear the answers all day long. I do love it. It's just I don't want to keep asking the same question personally. So here's a question. If you could go back and relive one game that you was there in person, what would that game be and why? You can't change the outcome of the game. It's just literally that game. My one would be the semi-final of the playoffs. It was me and my dad had a season ticket over there, so it was just Upton Park was a me and my dad thing. And yeah, that game, it was so loud, I couldn't even hear myself. Like, I couldn't even hear my own voice. It was that loud. It was just buzzing. So yeah, that would be the game for me that I'd relive. Yeah. Anyway, good luck to you, lads. Tell me you want.
It's a great question, Mickey. It really is, and that's a good match that he picked as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a great one. But I'm going to go to Andy first. Andy, have you?
I'm not going to do the obvious one. The last game at Upton Park. I think everyone will pick that. So my one is the 1-0 victory at the London Stadium when we beat Tottenham to stop them winning the league. That Lanzini goal.
Oh yes, that is a good one.
For me, it will be that one, or to witness Andy Carroll's volley against Palace again.
That was amazing. I had the perfect angle. But I was sat there for that as well. It was fucking impressive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it really was.
I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" When I saw him that high up in the air before he touched it.
Yeah. The Payet solo goal was decent as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. Actually.
But
if I had to pick one, it'll be the 1-0 Tottenham to stop them winning the league.
Fair enough. Good one. Right, what about you, John?
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I probably would have gone for the Ipswich one originally.
Yeah.
But obviously, Mickey's nicked that. It is the obvious one to pick the last game at Upton Park against Man United. But I'd probably go back to the FA Cup final when we lost to Liverpool, because I know we lost, right? And I know you think, well, why are you going to pick that? But it was just a fantastic weekend from start to finish. I know the result wasn't brilliant, but I mean, I went up there.
You want to relive that pain again? Oh,
yeah, because you know what? The thing about it was a pain. It was a pain, of course. But then after the game, I remember being allowed out, and we were socialising with the Liverpool fans, and it was all everyone was friendly, everyone was on each other's side, and we'd lost, and there was no real. I mean, we were disappointed. I mean, I sat in that stadium for about 20 minutes after the final whistle, but I think it was because the realisation that although we'd lost it, typical West Ham, you know, like the White Horse final, we was involved in that, but we lost it. This final was one of the best FA Cup finals ever. I know we'd lost it, but we'd been involved in it, you know, and we led twice, I believe, wasn't it? No, we led, three times.
Was it 3 times? It was 3 times, wasn't it?
Yeah, we led 3 times, didn't we?
We went 2-0, didn't we? And then it was 2-0, and then
twice. But I mean, it was just I know the result. You sort of think, how can you want to relive that? And as Mickey said, you can't change the result. But taking away the obvious, I'll go with that because it was just brilliant.
I've got a question for you.
Go on.
Sorry, quickly. If Jimmy Walker was in goal instead of Joe Heaslop, do you reckon he's saving Gerrard's shot?
Well, he says he would. Jimmy Walker reckons he would have.
Yeah.
I think he would. I think he would have.
I don't think that was the best attempt from Xhaka, was it? Let's face it.
No.
It weren't. It weren't. But no, I know what you're saying. I mean, look, I think that would have probably been my most memorable day ever. If we'd have won that, it was brilliant. Like you're saying, it was amazing down there. But the heartbreak. I mean, drove back with Gary on the way back, and we didn't speak to each other at all on the way back. It was just solemn. It was solemn in there. Yeah, it was.
I think maybe because we stayed up there and we sort of literally and metaphorically drank in the spirit of it all. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think it sort of
So
allowed us.
You drunk through the pain.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I am going to go for the obvious one. The last game at Upton Park. I'm going to because for me it was outstanding. It was a fairy tale day. Even the way the results went. We went in front, we went behind. I wouldn't. You could not have scripted that game any better than the way that it went. It was absolutely magical. Apart from the crap at the end, I thought that was a bit tatty. But the actual day itself, it was unbelievable. It was, I remember my son Ben. It was late as well because it was a delayed kickoff, and he sometimes he'd get tired and bored watching football when he was that age, and he was up on his seat, glued to it the whole time, the whole way through. It was literally it was hairs on the back of your neck time, and that really was for me. I know it sounds harsh, but I do think that was a day that the West Ham that we all grew up loving did die, and what we're watching now and what we're witnessing now is something different. I don't think it's not the same. It never will be. But listen, it might in time it could become something great again. But that was it can't compare to what we're that monstrosity that we're sitting in now. I mean, what's your opinions on the stadium, Andy? For a start.
So I sit right next to the away fans, like in the top tier. So I'm like right behind the goal. So the last couple of years since we've been back, apart from this season, it's been all right. Like you're interacting with the away fans, and it's like quite good banter and like stuff like that. And it's quite noisy there because obviously they're singing, so you're singing back. But the thing what I don't enjoy is getting into it. There's all the security checks and everything. Like
it's
obviously
rubbish,
you boys go to other away games. It's nothing like that, is it? No other stadium, and it's. But it is what it is. But I just hope we can do something with that stadium. But I don't know whether it's. See, for me, I would say you can't go there for a season. We'll play behind closed doors and just redo it, or half a season. Just redo it.
It needs to be redone. I mean, what we've spoken about this before. What they can do with it, I'm not too sure because it's such a huge footprint. And what we want as fans, we want to be closer to the action again, don't we? Ideally, you want it to be closer, and the only way you can really do that is if you close the stadium in terms of the stands, because you can't increase the height. So the rake of the stadium, if you want to maintain that capacity, you need that rake. Or the only thing, you can't increase the height, which means that you would have to sink the pitch. They can't sink the pitch because of all the crap that's running underneath it. It's not possible. It's not feasible. So the only thing that you could do to make it deeper and closer to the pitch is to reduce that capacity. And then you start to think to yourself, well, if you're going to do that, would we leave Upton Park for? So I think there's only so much I can do with it. But yeah, no, do you think it? Well, look, I suppose as we saw against Sevilla, it can be magical as well, can't it? If on the right occasion.
It will need constant big games to get big atmospheres.
Yeah.
The thing is with Upton Park, because you were so close to the ground, to the pitch, and everyone was so tight knit together, you could create atmosphere even on a poor game. The atmosphere.
I miss the smell.
I do.
You know what I mean? It's walking down Green Street.
The dirty burger smell.
The dirty burger vans.
Yeah.
And queuing to get a beer. Do you know how tight you were, like in the concourse, trying to get a beer and all that. Well, you still have to leave 5-10 minutes if you want a beer at half time. But the old school kind of way, it's mad, really. It is mad.
I know. But let's go on to another question anyway. So we've got cheers for that, Mickey. This is a question from Steve Bell. Now I don't know if you guys have seen this article, but Steve says, what do you guys think of what Longhello has come out with? I think we all pretty much knew that Moyes' view on the youth players it's such a shame. I could see most of them wanting to move on if he's still here next season. Did you see that or read that article, John, from
No.
Longello?
No, I've been at work today. I've not. No.
Yeah, well, it's you, Andy, yourself.
I've heard people's comments. I wouldn't say I've sat there and read the full bit of it. But
He's pretty much touching on the fact that there were several occasions where he thought he deserved a crack at getting into the at least the first team squad, not necessarily the team. And he said it just didn't ever feel like there was going to be a pathway for him there. He said it just didn't. It doesn't feel like that. He said when you're involved in that setup, it just doesn't feel like there's any way through.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. I mean, and that's why we have been seeing a steady stream of players sort of walking out the door. I mean, apparently Ekwa as well, the one that we signed, he was signed on a promise of being given some action. That was apparently one of the promises that was made because he weren't a young kid when we signed him, was he, Ekwa?
Well, he's 21. He's 21 now, isn't he?
He's 21 now. So I think when we signed him over from Chelsea, he was given a bit of a
19,
promise.
19, I think. 19.
Yeah, and he was given a bit of a promise of a pathway into the first team, and obviously that never materialised. But it is a bit of a worry, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how much of a worry it really is now, because me personally, my thoughts are that I think that Moyes will be gone next season anyway, irrespective of what happens now. So I don't think that really matters. But if he was to stick around, it would be a pretty damning situation for the youth academy, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you agree with that?
I think Nobles took it upon himself to work quite closely with the under-18s now, because I think a lot of the youth players that we've got rid of recently are at an age where they haven't broken into the team until quite late when you think about it. So, Ashby's 21. I can't remember. Longello, 19, 18?
He's
maybe?
He's 19 now, I think.
Yeah, so he's not old, but what I mean is he's only just started getting in and around the squad last season. Now, reasons I don't know, but I think Noble seems to be concentrating on the under-18s and
a new batch.
He's concentrating on that batch. So maybe the mindset is that the batch that we've had of sort of almost is too long in the tooth almost.
Yeah.
I don't agree, because I think Longello to me was I liked what I saw of him.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of him. When he's been on loan initially at Birmingham, I've seen a few games. He looked good, and I felt that because everyone else we sold straight away, and Longello we only put out on loan. So I thought, hopefully that he'd be brought back at some point. So I was very surprised when we sold him in January. Very, very surprised, especially when you look at the problems we had at left back with Cresswell's legs gone, and all of us were sort of suggesting that maybe Emerson can't defend. So I thought, well, it's a no-brainer. Bring Longello back. So when that didn't happen, I was quite peed off, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, it is disappointing, because at the end of the day, it's funny, isn't it? Because if you look around the Premier League, you don't get many youth team players come through from academies anywhere anymore. But we still crave that. I think all teams crave that. But I think because we are the self-proclaimed academy, we sort of crave it more than most.
Yeah.
The problem is as we know, for whatever reason, Moyes doesn't have the patience to blood these youngsters, even when it's staring you in the face. You know what I mean? When it's obvious, give them a go or rest some players. So, I mean, he hasn't said anything we don't already know, Longello. So it's not really ruffled feathers that way. I mean, it's no surprise, really.
I do think that Nobles had some input in releasing these players as well, because if you... I listened to a podcast that he did, and it kind of made me understand a little bit. And I think this goes back to the Josh Cullen thing. If you look at Josh Cullen now, his career's only just got started. He's 27. He wasted the majority of what should have been a brilliant career. It still might be, but he's been robbed of many years of his career. When he left us at 25? Was he 25 when he left officially?
Yeah. 25,
After many successful loan spells where he couldn't have done any more than what he did. So you start to think to yourself, if they're looking at the likes of Cullen, they're probably thinking to themselves, well, what's the fucking point? He couldn't have done any better. He'd come back in pre-season, he'd look good, and then they'd farm him out again. I
think Dex set the benchmark. If they think you're not up to Dex standard, then you're not good enough.
Not many are going to be. But I think what Noble said in that podcast, he basically said that. He said if players are not getting into the team, in or around the team at a certain age, he said you owe it to them to let them go and try and build their career elsewhere. And that made me think a little bit, hang on a minute, maybe, you've actually got someone coming in caring about the kids, saying, no, let them go. If you're not going to use them, stop standing in their way, let them go out and try and find their way somewhere else. When you look at it from that perspective, then it does make sense. So maybe you're right, John, maybe Noble has had input in it. He is concentrating on the 18s.
And if you look at the 18s, they're on the verge of winning the league, aren't they?
Well, they can't not win it now. They can't not win it. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, they can't not win it, but technically they're on the verge of winning it.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of them youngsters who are under 18. Skulls played in the European game. Yeah. You've got Mbam. I can never say his name. What's his name?
Mubama.
There's another guy there. He's actually a brother of one of Freddie's mates. His name's Ryan Battram. He got moved up to the under-21s the other day and played a couple of games. They've got a lot of young players there, obviously young. They've got a lot of players there that they've got a lot of time for, and I think they are going to invest in the under-18s. Maybe, unfortunately, for players like Ashby, Longello, etc., they've sort of missed the boat with what West Ham are trying to do now,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on it, Andy? Do you follow the youth academy a lot, or?
Yeah, I do, mate. When they're on YouTube and stuff, especially, I'm not going to lie. I should probably go and watch them live when you can as well. Like it'd be good to. But like you said,
I don't either. I wish I did.
Yeah, with Divine, I like him. I like his attitude. Like that interview after when you're at the game and you. I don't know about you guys, but when they're on telly, I have to watch the whole game back, even when I've been there. I sit back and watch it and all the interview, and then just the way he spoke, and I think even the way Bowen spoke about him gives him confidence as well. And that's like you said, Skulls. I'd love Freddie Potts to break through. Like I know he had a little cameo, but he just seems to have that noble. It sounds a bit too early to say, but like Flynn Downs, you know what you got to do. The old school, which are coming.
He resembles. I'm not talking about as a player. He resembles Rice. I mean, because I literally I had to do a double take because he was playing. I was like, "Fucking, when did Rice come on?" Because he's got the same gait. He's a very similar build. He runs the same. So I don't know whether he's modelled himself on Rice. I ain't got a clue. But he's he looks like he's very highly regarded, Potts, isn't he?
Yeah.
In that academy.
Yeah.
So
it must be very hard for him because I know. Obviously, his brother still plays for Luton. He's still doing it, but having your dad in the academy must make it more pressure, and he's living up to it as well.
I mean, do you know something? There's one thing I'm going to say. The only positive thing that you could take from relegation is it likely would mean that some of these kids are going to get a chance. It probably will, because do you not think the likes of that season we went down? Anton Ferdinand broke through. As an 18-year-old.
What a partnership that was, the centre-backs as well.
Yeah, I used to love Elliot Ward.
That Barnett, wasn't it? Did you watch that playoff thing what he done with Zamora when they're just abusing?
But yeah, so that's what I mean. So that's maybe the only positive that you could take from relegation is we might get some of these promising kids actually break through.
It's quite interesting because if Noble is going to take a more hands-on approach with the under-18s especially, you'd imagine that whoever the manager will or won't be, that he's going to try and get some of these in and around the first team squad at some point. However, the thing is, even if Moyes goes, I mean, my concern these days is that managers just in the main don't give young players a go. And it ain't just Moyes, it's across the board, really. I mean, Man City, all right, they've got Foden and Rico Lewis, but you only get one or two at any one point, don't you? They don't sort of bleed a lot of them at once. Do you know what I mean? So there's always going to be a bit of waste, if you like, in terms of the youth team. But you just hope that we can, try and push them into the first team. Obviously not now, but in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's move on to the next one. Cheers for that, Steve. This one's from Dazza. He says, "Hi guys, I would love your thoughts on the way that contracts for managers are structured in regards to payoffs. It really gets my goat when I hear that Moyes will be entitled to around about 7 million if he's sacked for doing a shit job. And that is what's rumoured to be as to why Sullivan won't get rid of him. It is weird, isn't it? It's got to be like one of the only walks of life where you can walk into a really highly paid job, be really shit at it, I'm not saying that Moyes has been really shit at it over his whole tenure,
Well,
but on the
yeah.
whole, you can walk into a 5-year contract, be crap in the first 6 months, you're entitled to the full 5 years.
Yeah,
It is mad, isn't it?
strange. It is strange. I mean, if you look at Jose Mourinho, how much money has he been paid out in recent years? Where he's just been sacked halfway through a job or whatever, and he's he's allegedly one of the best. So it is odd. They sort of get paid for failure because in the end, every manager will foul. That's how they leave a club. So at some point they will foul. It is odd. I don't get it. I always remember a few years ago. I know maybe you shouldn't judge a chairman by Mike Ashley. I think he gave Alan Pardew an 8-year contract, didn't he? Not so long ago.
Yeah.
And you think
they only just finished paying that off as well.
Well, exactly, Andy. But the thing is, the average manager in the Premier League is about 2 years that they last.
Yeah.
So why are you going to give them a 7-8 year contract in the first place?
It doesn't make any sense. It's so short sighted because and that's why the with the way that West Ham are run, especially at the moment, because. And yeah, you're right, because I think in the Premier League, especially for a club like West Ham, I think if a manager stays for more than 3 years, 4 years, they're staying because they're doing fucking well. At which point they're probably going to get poached by someone else. So they're either going to go because they're crap and you need to replace them, or they're going to be amazing and they're not going to be there for very long. So it is a bit odd.
It's been a long time since a West Ham manager's been poached.
I know, wouldn't it? I know. It would almost be nice, wouldn't it? Because it'd mean that you've had a good season. I know, but yeah, I mean, what do you reckon, Andy, on that? It is odd. Isn't it? It's crap, isn't it?
Well, it's not just that. It's not just the manager. It's all of his fucking staff as well that they've got to pay out for as well. So it's not just the manager. But for me, I reckon it should be like in my job. If I reach my targets, complete projects or anything, I'll get a bonus. You shouldn't have to leave. It should be if you don't reach your targets, you don't get paid. Like that's my opinion on it. Like it should be the same as like players. Like if you do well, like if they score a goal or clean sheet, they get the bonuses. But I think a manager's contract should be rolling every year. Every year, if you meet your targets, you get but it will never happen.
It will never happen because it's a manager's market, because there aren't that many great managers, and if another club is willing to pay them so much money and give them contracts like that, then if you want to attract managers like that, you've got to do the same. Yeah. You've got to. Yeah. So that's kind of how it goes. It's the same with players, isn't it?
For me, I reckon the manager's done already. If I'm being honest,
yeah,
I reckon we're actually being smart and got someone lined up. Me personally.
Who has?
I reckon we've got the manager already.
I've got that feeling. I've got that feeling as well.
Fucking pair of dreamers. Do you really think they plan that much? They don't plan that much.
No. They haven't planned. I reckon they'll be looking at the last 12 games now. It will be squeaky bum time. Have you not heard all the rumours at the moment? Because it ain't just Sullivan. Have you not heard all the rumours that Because look, it's not nice to talk about the share situation after Jacqueline has just passed away and stuff like that. But apparently there's a bit of a battle going on behind the scenes over who hoovers these shares up. And if you think back to that contract that Krasinski signed when he bought into a contract. Apparently there's an agreement in there. I'm sure there is, where he gets first dibs on shares when they're up for grabs.
But
so I'm sure.
But sorry to interrupt you, but if somebody has a will, whatever they own would go to whoever's in the will, wouldn't it?
Well, Dan Cunningham is on the board. He has been for some time, and that was Jacqueline's husband, wasn't it?
No, I know, but surely inheritance overrules business, doesn't it? I don't know how it works.
I don't know. I couldn't.
That must be a big can of worms there.
But apparently there's a bit of a battle going on behind the scenes at the moment. But and that could be. I mean, that. Well, the thing is, because I made this mistake on the show the other week where I said, for some reason in my mind, I still had Sullivan down as a major shareholder. I said he had 51%. He doesn't anymore. No.
So 38 or something,
it's only 38. And the thing is, David Gold, you can imagine David Gold would side with Sullivan because they're friends and that probably would happen, and that would shift them. That would give Sullivan the votes that he needed to go and do what he wanted. But now Gold has gone. There's no saying that Gold's offspring or this Dan Cunningham are going to have the same affiliation with Sullivan. They might be warming more towards Krasinski. To Krasinski. You just don't know.
Well, Nigel said that Cunningham's a massive West Ham fan, didn't he?
Yeah.
So if Cunningham's a massive West Ham fan, like any of us three sitting here, what would we do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you'd fucking hate your father-in-law, wouldn't you?
Who would we side with?
You'd hate your father-in-law. I said sticking on these sub. Go on, mate. Go on.
But it's about Trip Smith as well. I forgot about him until the other day as well.
I keep forgetting about him. He's been there for years.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, going back to, I reckon the manager's done already.
Yeah,
I reckon the manager. I think it's done. It's like stay there till the end. It's going to be squeaky bum time, and he'll leave. Royce will resign. I think.
Yeah.
I think he'll resign.
Oh yeah. I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but I've said all along he won't be sacked this season. They will ride it out to the end of the season. Who they've got lined up, I don't know really. I mean, Tuchel's just gone, and Tuchel's just signed for Bayern Munich, isn't he, or someone? So we're not going to get him. Not that we was anyway, but I think they are going to just try and ride it out, and let's hope it works, eh?
Yeah, I mean, great question, Dad. I think we're all in agreement. It's nonsense. It should be performance related, but it's not. It's supply and demand. That's what it's down to. But sort of before we move on from managers, I did hear, and obviously living in Enfield, I'll get to hear quite a lot of Tottenham gossip when I'm over with the kids' football, and I was over there tonight. There's a heavy rumour going around, or more than a rumour, that Conte's amazing outburst.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people that were saying that was him handing his resignation in, basically saying, "Sack me, I want out," which is what it sounded like to me. But apparently, they're saying that he could have played into Levy's hands, because when you sign up to become a manager of a club, you sign NDAs and agreements and stuff like that to say that you don't reveal certain things and you don't act in a certain way. They're saying that what he did and the way that he acted was apparently that they might be looking at it as though he's completely in breach of contract. So there's some legal recourse on that. They might not only be looking at letting him go so he don't get a penny. They might be Levy might look to try and sue him.
Yeah. I mean, the day after that he did that, Simon Jordan was on TalkSport, and Simon Jordan said, if I was chairman, if I was Daniel Levy, I would sack him for gross misconduct straight away. Yeah. Pretty much backing up all of what you've heard.
Yeah.
From my understanding, he's still in Italy, and he was meant to take training today, and he didn't. They had like 3 days, so on Ryanair, wasn't it? He flew out Ryanair.
Yeah, Ryan,
as quick as he could.
Ryan Mason's been taking training, although I don't know how many of them are actually there, because they must all be aware of international duty anyway, mustn't they? Most of the squad.
Most of them, you would have thought, yeah.
We only got 3 or 4 players there, so.
But that's the thing, as shitty as it gets in the West Ham world, you've still got Tottenham to laugh at, haven't you, on a regular basis. Right, cheers for that, Daz. Right, Roger Gerlin. No, that's not a question. John, with relegation a real possibility, we know that we have truly been sold down the river by Sullivan and Brady regarding this move to the London Stadium. If we do go down, what can we, the true fan base, do collectively by peaceful means to force Sullivan and Brady to stand down from the club and bring in new ownership, e.g. non-renewal, season tickets, boycotting attendance, stop buying merchandise, etc.? What are your thoughts regarding trying to get rid of the present regime, or should we just accept the status quo? I'll answer that one initially. I think we've spoken about this one just recently, and all of those things would work, because the way that you get first of all, as Gary said in his video earlier on, if we get relegated and the focus will immediately turn to Sullivan, his tune will change about David Moyes. He'll be throwing Moyes under the bus because he'll want to deflect attention away from him, and he'll be blaming David Moyes. But hitting him in the pocket is how you would really force him out of the club. But we know that the West Ham fan base are just not going to do that. When fans leave, new fans come. We know that a lot of fans didn't follow West Ham from Upton Park to the London Stadium, but they still managed to sell out that the season tickets and stuff like that. There's like a new breeds of fan now. So I don't know. And trying to get people rolled up for a protest, I just don't think you could line anyone. You've only got to put a post an opinion on Twitter, and it's a completely divided fan base. Everyone's at each other's throats. No one agrees on fucking anything. So how you would round people up for a protest to do stuff like that, I just don't think you could do it. I honestly don't. I think it would work, but how do you align 60,000 headstrong people, which is what we are with our own mindsets? What do you reckon, John?
I disagree in so much as I think the one thing the fan base aren't divided on is the ownership. Yeah. Because most fans, whether you're Moyes in, Moyes out, Rice is this, Rice is that, Noble this, Noble that. We're all pretty much aligned with the fact that pretty much we are still run like a circus, right?
Yeah.
And in effect, the last 2 seasons of success by our standards has taken the gloss or taken the light off of Sullivan and the ownership. Yeah. How we let them know? Look, they have a massive marketing team. They have a massive media and marketing team who must scour YouTube channels, Twitter, fan base sites, and things like that, and look at the fact that the wheels have fallen off Moyes to some extent this season, and it hasn't taken very long for the fan base to turn their attention back to Sullivan, has it? Really, let's be honest.
No.
What we do about it, I don't know. I mean, I'd find it very difficult to give up my season ticket. I'm not going to lie. It's not because I want to support Moyes and his pocket and his profits. It's because I want to support my team. So I personally find it very difficult with what you can do to highlight the problem to them or to highlight to them that you're unhappy. I don't know. I genuinely do not know. I like the idea.
A unified protest would work. I think a protest would work.
It would, but what sort of protest?
Well, it'd have to be
during the game. What?
Probably, yeah. I mean, what is it that Newcastle did? Didn't they stand the concourses for? Was it 5 minutes? 5 minutes or 10 minutes
that's
before
what I was
the
going
game?
to say. The only thing I could imagine doing is not taking your seat until 5-10 minutes into the game, something like that. But then again, would that really matter? Because you're still there, you still paid your money.
Do you think that you could get the majority of West Ham fans to buy into that? Do you think you could align West Ham fans with that? I don't know.
Because I do think that our hatred of Sullivan is across the board. I really do. I don't know many people that support. I don't know anyone that supports Sullivan.
No.
If I'm honest, do you?
Everyone dislikes him. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So surely that's the one thing that we can agree about.
Yeah. You like to think so. What about you, Andy?
Me personally, I reckon he's going. I think after this agreement, what was it, where they don't have to pay the tax or whatever?
The embarrassment clause, yeah.
Yeah. So I think not this summer, next summer he's gone.
Yeah.
Me personally, but the question is who comes in. Like, I know, like you said, Kaczynski's got the main, but I can't see him being the major shareholder anyway. Or he'll take it over temporary and someone else come in. I really do think.
I didn't think that, but I've been hearing more and more that might be changing. Apparently, it's always been his intention to become major shareholder. Even though
he's not. Yeah, he's not. His wife is even richer than him.
Yeah, no, I know.
I wish I had a wife like that.
Is it like was she like the president or dad was like something?
She's worth an awful lot of money. There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money in Kretinsky. Put it that way. But yeah, I don't know. Would that be a good thing or not? I don't know. I couldn't be any worse. I think we need a change now, don't we? It's about time Sullivan went. He's got to go. Leave us alone. Just get out.
Yeah.
Because I think
there's a lot.
Go on.
There's a lot you could, looking from the outside in. You look at West Ham as a club. You look at the fan base. You look at the potential of maybe getting the stadium on the cheap at some point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential there for a businessman because listen. You don't get Jack Walkers of Blackburn anymore. They're all businessmen. They're all there to earn money, whether we like it or not. The end result is they want to turn a profit.
Yeah.
So there's massive potential there. So
I don't think it is no more, John, at the stadium. All that shit was built around it now. All that stuff what's around it, all the university and there's not much land around there no more. If maybe before when we first moved there and it happened, I think we could have you got the university from a business perspective. I'm thinking that
a lot of it looks like it's been or being developed.
Yeah, but what you've got to remember is Spurs have only got their stadium; they've got no ground around it.
No,
but what Spurs are going to do? Spurs are going to use that stadium for concerts. They already use it for NFL. They're going to use that every weekend. There'll be something going on in that stadium, and that's what the London Stadium has the potential to do. To be a venue for not just West Ham. It'll be a venue for something every weekend of the year.
And transfer links as well. It's better than Tottenham.
Listen, I'm not being funny. In terms of Spurs, the stadium, great. but
Getting
Tottenham,
there's
White Hart
awful.
Lane, getting there shit. The surrounding area is rubbish. It's not great. In terms of hosting, holding and entertaining tons of people, Stratford's ideal. You've got the shopping centre. There's bars galore. There's restaurants everywhere. So it's custom made for a lot of people, isn't it?
Have you seen that? Have you seen that ABBA thing that's over there?
Yes, yeah.
That ABBA thing has sold out every night. It is packed 7 nights a week.
Well, there you go.
And there's thousands of people there every night. It's unbelievable, and that is, that's even further from the stadium. So
is that regular drop off, John? Is it regular drop off?
I don't like to talk about my affairs. Keep it private. I think someone's watching.
Yeah. Right, let's play a. Where are we? This is Sam from Baz Vegas.
Baz Vegas.
This is a follow up to his dirty question last week. A few weeks ago.
Oh yeah, dirty boy.
How you doing, lads? Hope you're all doing well, apart from John. Still a bit pissed off with you, mate, from the answer that you gave to my question in the last Boozecast. Shag Dawson and bench to Canio. Mate, it must be something wrong with you. Canio is God. I'd quite happily watch him shag my wife. Man's an absolute God, but that's my opinion. But I'll crack on with my question. Right, say if we, by some sort of miracle, stay up this season, how much money do you think is going to have to be pumped back into the squad next year? I know we spent a lot this year and everyone keeps going on about it, but with the players that we could potentially lose next season, we're going to need another one like that, another 100 million plus. Look at it, with Rice is definitely be going, Lanzini's off, and the potential players we could be losing, Antonio and Bonner, Cresswell, Ben Johnson, maybe even Fornells. And I think we still need a right back and another centre back. So how much do you reckon? Come on, you Irons.
That's another good one from Sam. That's a brilliant question, actually. I'll tell you what, I'll go to Andy first on this one. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
For me, I reckon we're going to get at least 120 for Rice.
Yeah.
So that's 120 into the pot as well. So I reckon it'll be close to 200. I reckon we'll get another 80. And to be honest, it depends who goes down. For me, Declan Rice's ideal replacement, for me, is James Ward-Prowse. For me, that's my opinion. That's who I would love in the club, in the middle of the pitch. Dead ball delivery. When was the last time we scored?
He would add so much to our team.
Yeah. So you've got to look at that. Fab's obviously gonna be hopefully number 2 next year, if he's not gone. So obviously Ariota will be number 1. New left back. It depends who goes down, really, mate. There's a few good players in the lower league. Like I even like that Mitchell from Palace. Like if Palace do go down, do you know what I mean? I think we've got to do a bit of hit like Del Boy situation, wheeling deals and try.
There'll be a lot of that. There'll be a lot of raiding the teams that get relegated, won't there?
Yeah. So I'm quite optimistic. Like I said when I come on the show after the Villa game on the phone in, I reckon we'll stay up. It's going to be squeaky bum time, but I'm excited if we get the manager, a desirable manager. They've got the connections. I'm not saying we would raid Man United, but say for example, if we got Carrick, if they don't get promoted, he's got the connections to other clubs. If we get that kind of manager, I reckon probably another 80 million plus the money for Rice.
And the thing is, if we do that, if we get that level of investment, because look, I said this earlier on, and this wasn't John took it the wrong way. It wasn't a slight on Declan Rice and what he's done for the club or anything else. When you look at West Ham, the way that we've struggled this year, I just don't think Declan Rice isn't going to be as this Declan Rice of this season for West Ham this season isn't going to be as much of a miss selling him as what it would have been if we'd have sold him at the end of last season. That would have been heartbreaking. But now you're kind of thinking, well, look, we've not been great anyway. Let's take the money. He can move on. We can move on. And just not just strength. You can't replace Declan Rice, but what you can do is you can strengthen in the other areas around him that he mitigates, because I think he covers up for a multitude of sins in that team. I think he does. Yeah. So I think if you strengthen around him, then you could almost, it could be better for us. It could be better for us, but yeah, staying up is paramount. And then if we do, and we get a progressive manager in, papers are saying Will Still. I'd love Will Still, Michael Carrick, anyone like that. Anyone young, enthusiastic, who's got new ideas, who's going to excite the team. I mean, can you imagine the players now? Say now, 12 games to go, Moyes is gone. Just say it's Will Still comes in. a young guy, sort of around their own age group, who's got he's got an emerging name in the game. He's got loads of ideas, loads of enthusiasm, attacking minded. How much of a relief would that be to be a player in that team after what they've been having to live with for the past fucking few months? It'd be amazing. So to build on what we've got, you look at the likes that the Paquetas and Skamakas and players like that. And apparently, if you listen to the Sufal interview, which weren't great, he confirms, because he's obviously gone off to play for. He's recovering from an injury at the moment, and he's gone off on international duty anyway. First thing he's done when he's gone out there is he's done his usual thing. He's done an interview with the Czech press, and again, it ain't great, but he's come out and he said, "Yeah, look, too many new players have come in. New players and the old players are not really getting on. They both completely disagree on tactics. The new players want to play a new style. The old players want to stick to the old way. So that's kind of where a lot of the rift is coming from. But what you can do is, if you get the right manager in, we can continue this transition. And if we have to phase out the older players to get rid of this problem and just build a new team, because we have to play a new style of football." David Moyes himself admitted that his counter-attacking game had been found out because it was very effective, which is why teams have just gone, "No, fuck off, we're not letting you do that now." And they've stopped us running in behind. Now they've given David Moyes a problem he can't fix because he's a one-trick pony. So I don't think it's been a failure in the transfer window. There have not been players that fit David Moyes' system, but if we can stay up and get rid of David Moyes and build on top of the crop that we've already brought in, I think we could see something special next year. What about you, John?
Yeah, I mean, look, if Moyes is going to go at the end of the season, which I think he is, then let's hope they've got a manager lined up pretty quickly, because the most important thing when a manager comes in is that you get players that suit him.
Yeah.
Right? So that's got to be done sooner rather than later. What we have to spend is probably, agree with Andy, it's going to be nigh on, what we get for Rice plus, plus more. And yes, there's a lot of, look, that Premier League at the minute, from 12th down, anyone could go down. There's a lot of good teams in the mix with a lot of good players. So it will depend on who gets relegated to who can be picked up quickly. However, what you've got to remember is we're not going to be the only club sniffing around like vultures. There's going to be, every club's going to be sniffing around like vultures, looking to pick some of these players up cheap. So business and things have got to be done quick. The problem is that we know that our ownership don't do things quickly. No. They do things slow, on the cheap, and that's my concern. We're always late to the party, basically, because the ownership don't do anything with any speed of fault.
Do you not think that our board setup now has possibly made that worse, because everyone's got to vote on it and no one's got a deciding vote? You've got to all agree before you can sign anything off.
But then my argument, Nick, could it get any worse than we've seen in the ownership?
No, probably not.
I mean, if you want to believe some of the negotiations, some of the transfers we've missed out on because of pennies. Some of the way we pay transfer fees. I know a lot of people say that all clubs do that, but it's just embarrassing sometimes. And we're going to lose a lot of quality players through being out of contract, coming to the end of their careers, or moving on. And we're really going to have to.
Although it's not uncommon.
This is a bigger rebuild than last summer.
I think it's a more important rebuild, and I think this could be. See, the thing is, right? I think that this summer, I think last summer was phase one. That was bringing in the first batch of new players to play the new style. And as Vladimir Sufal has basically confirmed, we've got a band of misfits who don't really fit with each other at the moment. They're not getting on. They've got different ideas of football. But next season, that could be rectified. You could players that are pushing back on the new style, or players that can't play that way. They can't retain the ball. Players like Souček, who, as good as he is as a central midfielder, you need to be making more than one pass every 10 minutes in a match, don't you? It's as simple as that. You need to be offering more technically. Players like that need to be taken out of that team if we do want to play a more progressive possession-based game. Because when people talk about possession, I think the David Moyes possession-based game is still defensive. It's about keeping the ball away from the opposition, not making. Go on, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say, just talking about managers, is quickly, because I know you say Carrick, but Carrick is not going to be in a rush. This is his first management job, right? He might look at Gerrard, Lampard, who have rushed into taking Premier League jobs, and he might think, if Borough don't get promoted, he doesn't need to rush into this job.
No.
We might think that he can't refuse us, but in my mind, I mean, he can. I don't even know how old he is. 40, maybe. Yeah, he's in no rush to take a big job yet.
He's not, and I completely agree.
We're going to get someone like that.
I completely agree, and I think it would be silly for him to do that, to move on too quickly. But there are
I'd love him.
But there are tons that the game is changing now. If you look throughout the European leagues now, there are tons and tons and tons of young up and coming managers. So I don't care whether we get Carrick, Will Still, whoever it is, Willie Ostilio from Portugal. I don't care who it is. I'm not precious. Just get someone in with ideas. Gary, like I say, Gary did a brilliant video earlier on where he touched on the Will Still interview and the differences between Will Still's mindset and someone like David Moyes, and it does make you realise the difference. We need that. If you want that enthusiasm and that dynamism from the players, we play in the toughest league in the world, where it's constantly changing. You constantly got different styles and different players coming in. You need a manager that can adapt and evolve. David Moyes can't. He's stuck in the mud.
Have you seen that interview, Andy?
Yeah.
I loved it. But just quickly, and then I'll let you talk about it. The biggest thing I took from that was when he said, well, because I'm the same age as a lot of the players, I can relate to their lives. I can relate to Twitter and Instagram. And I didn't think of that. He's actually on their level. That's quite an interesting point, that the age thing could actually be a benefit rather than a hindrance. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree 100%. And what I said as well is, I don't know how many managers it is, obviously, like the foreign managers like Pep and think, but the fact that he can speak fluent languages as well, he took that session and translate, like someone for like Paqueta or people like that, and the French speaking ones, they're going to thrive on that. Like the fact that they can. I don't want to sound horrible, but I struggle to hear understand what David Moyes is saying sometimes. So how the hell were foreigners? Do you know what I mean?
But to change tongue like he does, a lot of people can talk different languages. I mean, John thinks he can talk German, but a lot of people can.
Why have you brought that up?
But a lot of people can talk different languages, but there is nothing more. I went into a project meeting once, and there was a guy whose project this was. It was his fucking development, Swiss guy, and he got in people from different areas of the world. Obviously, we're English. You had Italians. He literally ran this meeting, and he did what Will Still did in that interview, and he just went from one person to the other, and he was just changing tongue like constantly, and he was engaging with everyone. Wow. And honestly, we was actually all having a conversation with each other through this guy, and none of us spoke the same languages. It was unbelievable. So, and we did, and it did work. It was a good team. It was a good project, and because of him, it got delivered well. And it just goes to show you that type of thing. And I think that is a bit of a sign of intelligence to be able to do that as well. Not talk different languages, but to be able to deliver it in that way is impressive. I think it is. It's impressive.
You have changed.
It's impressive. Why is that?
And
Why is that?
I was in a project with a Swiss guy. What the fuck are you talking about? You're from my land, you muppets.
Shut up, you slag. Right, but go on, Andy. Go on, mate. Sorry.
No, the one thing what I was going to say as well is, like, you've seen Noble apparently over in France watching it as well, but there's some gems in that French league. Like, he obviously knows them as well. So, like, convincing them to come over as well. Like, there's a couple of strikers who I watch very closely. Jonathan David. I like him.
Yeah, definitely.
Like someone like that. Like if he could get that communication as well, I think that would be key as well.
And a lot of that does come down to it. See, you might think it's names that people want. You go and get a big name manager and they'll attract players. I think it's going to be style of play. Because if you're a player in your prime and in your next move, you're going to want to go to a team that's going to help you, give you a platform to be the best that you can be. So if you're an attacking player, for instance, you want to play in an attacking team. You don't want to, David Moyes' ball isn't gonna. I'm sure if Paqueta and Scamacca had been told, although I don't think that they were. I think that they were told that there was going to be a different style. I think David Moyes believed there was going to be a different style. I think he's tried to implement it. I just think he's fucking failed. But I like to say, I don't think he's lied to them. But he
deliver on his promise.
He couldn't deliver on it. It hasn't worked. I said before, like Pep Guardiola probably couldn't do what David Moyes does. He probably couldn't become a decent defensive coach because it's not what his passion is. David Moyes' passion is clearly shutting up shop and trying to squeeze the life out of the game and everyone watching it.
Someone should clip that bit.
What's that?
Pep Guardiola can't do what Moyes does. That is a
probably
compliment.
couldn't. No, couldn't be shit basically. Next one, right? Mark Anderson. A lot of people are slagging off the appointment. I like this one. Slagging off the appointment of Roy Hodgson at Palace. But is it any different to the time when Moyes, the meaningless, was reappointed at West Ham? Moyes, the meaningless. That's very, very good. But no, I get this, and I do get this a lot, and I think it's very silly for West Ham fans at the moment. Don't get me wrong. This isn't me saying that I wanted us to go and get Roy Hodgson. But the thing is, what Roy Hodgson being reappointed at Palace, a wily old dog who has got connections with that club, knows it inside out. Was recently managing there, as it kept him in the league for many, many years. I think that's probably the equivalent of, say, West Ham going out and getting maybe Redknapp for a few months. That's the thing. So it isn't Roy Hodgson. Roy Hodgson is different to Palace to what Roy is to everyone else. And the thing is as well, in our position, they've got how many 6-pointers coming up on the spin, John? 5 or 6?
They're playing everybody, Dan.
They're playing everyone around them. Right?
They're playing everyone.
If he gets 3 or 4 wins out of those games, which is quite feasible, they're out of it. They're done. They're safe. So we shouldn't be laughing at them yet, is what I'm saying. We should at least be holding off on that. It isn't funny. Roy Hodgson isn't a shit manager. Yes, he's old. He's 75. But he's only come in to do a recovery job. He ain't going to be coaching the team, is he? What's he got? Ray Lewington with him, hasn't he? I think he's come back. He's come back in with him. Yeah. But no. But is it any different to when David Moyes was reappointed at West Ham? Yes, it is different because we kept David Moyes on. They won't keep him on. He's literally only here until the end of the season. Whatever happens, if he saves them, he saves them. That's it. They're going to move on. David Moyes, he's saved us from relegation. Not really. He got 20 points in the last 19 games to Pellegrini's 19. We stayed up on 39 points.
Did we go down? We
didn't go down, but he didn't save us. We weren't in the relegation spots when he came in.
Okay. But
we weren't in the relegation spots when he came in. But yeah, we didn't get relegated, and then we had to award him a contract at the end of it. But I suppose looking back, we've had a decent run for a few years. But yeah, so that's my opinion on that one anyway. What do you reckon, Andy?
I reckon it's a stupid appointment. I'm not going to lie. I think it is because they're an aging side and they've not got no identity. They're like us.
Yeah.
I think it's like Will Zaha's not going to. They've got players like us who are not going to be there in the summer, and I just reckon that they've gave up, and I don't think they care. To be perfectly honest, they've got a worse squad than us on paper as well, and the fact that they're not playing, like I saw, Ward, their right back. No disrespect, I love Tompkins to bits. They're relying on him. He's been dreadful as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it's. The goalkeeper situation. The goalkeeper's actually done well. Them being injured, that might be their blessing in disguise. That young one who's come in, but I reckon it's a silly appointment. I think they're going down.
But that being the case, is that because of Roy, or is that just because they've got a bit of an aging team? They're not doing so well, or do you think?
They remind me of Stoke. Stoke eventually went down.
See, I'm not sure because I do think they've got some exciting players. If you look at Elise, if you look at Eze.
Wesley's on the bench all the time. But Vieira dropped him ages ago.
I know, but this is what I'm saying to you. But they've got a lot of good flair attacking players. I think they're lacking a proper number 9. I think they have been like us. They've been lacking a number 9 for a long time.
I think I disagree with you, Andy. I'm sorry, mate. Don't want no trouble. But I think it's actually a shrewd appointment because if they was going to sack Vieira now, then Roy Hodgson is the obvious choice in the short term because. Like you said, it was only last year he was there. He knows most of the players inside out.
Yeah. He
will make them hard to beat. The only thing is, they have got a lot of flair players, and as we know, Hodgson doesn't do flair.
No.
The problem with Palace across the board is they've relied on Zaha far too long. He's going in the summer. Apparently, one of them clubs in Abu Dhabi's offered him silly money a week to follow Ronaldo out there. And they've got to learn to survive without Saha, and I don't think they can. But I think they've got very winnable games now because they're playing teams in and around them, which makes it more surprising that they got rid of Vieira, because Vieira actually had a tough run of games before his sacking. They played a lot of the big teams. So for me, I don't think it matters who's there now. I think they'll stay up just. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's. I think they'll stay up. Well, look, it's the same with us. Okay, we've got a 6-pointer when we come back, and the thing that worries me about that game, Southampton, their form has been improving. The results have steadily started to improve as well. They've been picking up points anyway, but their form has been improving. They've not been as shocking as they were. But it's the way that we tend to start after a break is not normally very good. The only thing that I would say, and this is what I've been fretting about, I might be wrong with, I could be proved wrong, because I'm worried about the 3-day gap. We've got 9 games in a month, with an average 3-day gap in between those fixtures. We've got a block of 3 Premier League games with 3 days gap in between, and we've got a block of 3 games at the end with three, and their Premier League games with 3 days in between as well. But when you look back, when we've been faced with similar scenarios before, we actually haven't done too bad.
No,
we haven't done too bad. And I think we said this the other day. I think what happens then if you're playing 3 games in a week, you probably drop a few training sessions, didn't you? That's all you do. That's all you do. You
but
play.
players would rather play
matches.
matches than train, wouldn't they?
You play matches and you do recovery. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
I think if we come back after the break, which is, I know people are going to go very unlikely, but if we come back, put in a good performance and win against Southampton,
then I think we're going to be all right.
That could really put us on a positive note. If we come back and have the same abject performances, then we're in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah,
I know we're in all sorts of trouble now, but this game against Southampton, I know it's a cliche, it's huge. It is the biggest game, because after a break, there's no more breaks after this. And this could set the tone for the remaining 12 games.
And there would literally be that this break was our last chance to go and get a recovery manager in, because you can't go bringing a new manager in and amongst them fucking fixtures with 3-day gaps and stuff like that. You can't do it.
I've been telling you since October, get it out your head. He is not going anywhere.
No, I think the only thing that could happen if we was to lose. No, I'm just saying to you. I think the only thing that could happen. No, John, the only thing that could happen if we was to lose against Southampton, then Nottingham Forest, and then heaven forbid Fulham, we've got 9 games left. At that point, he could be removed, and Noble or what's his name, Nolan, could step in. But so the backroom team stay the same. There's no disruption. Everything's the same. You just remove him. I think that could happen. It could do. But hopefully that don't happen. Because I think if we lose them, if we was to lose 3 on the spin, I think we're fucked.
You want Moyes to stay now?
Yeah, Moyes in, yeah. Right, let's play the last voice message from Just George.
Just George.
Hang on, I'll have to start that again.
For fuck's sake, amateur.
Hello, gents. Hope you're well. I was reading the other day in the news about the London Stadium selling the naming rights for next season and beyond. I believe the Mayor of London is going to be involved in it as well. And I was just wondering if you guys think as well that it's just going to be another nail in the coffin for the identity of our football club. The culture and tradition has already been heavily watered down, and giving us a stadium name, the likes of, be it the Emirates Stadium or something else like that, it's just going to be ridiculous and further take away that connection that we have with the club at present. Cheers. God bless.
Cheers, mate. John, go to you on that.
I don't really feel any affiliation with the stadium anyway. So
I don't at all.
The only thing that would bother me,
I know what he means. It's the name. If it's a stupid name.
I find it embarrassing calling it the London Stadium, if I'm honest, because that's so generic. It's like the London Stadium. But I mean, I suppose there are some sponsorship deals that you wouldn't want to get it. Maybe like I don't know, Durex or
Win a Lot
or Iron Brew. Moyes would stay there if
the Win a Lot Arena. We'd never live it down, would we?
Yeah, I mean, look, George, your question's a good one, but for me, the identity isn't that stadium. You know, the identity is the players playing on the pitch, wearing the shirt. But yeah, we'd have to be hopeful that the sponsorship isn't saying ludicrous.
Like Cadbury's cream egg or something.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like from above.
What's the? I've got to search this up. Go on, Andy. Give your answer, mate. There's something ridiculous that I heard the other day. I've got to just clarify it first.
You've got a Kit Kat stadium, isn't you, in the lower leagues? A Kit Kat stadium.
I agree with you, John. I don't think it's got an identity, and I suppose the only decent thing is it will make, if we're not at the games in Gillette, it'll be like, oh, do you remember when like St James's Park got renamed to Sports Direct Arena or something like that? So it'll make it more exciting instead of the London Stadium. But like you said, they've got to pick it right. You don't want to be something. Like I heard rumours about like Vodafone or something. Imagine it, like Vodafone Arena or something. It just sounds shit.
This is the one. This is what I heard the other day. Bolton Wanderers have unveiled the new stadium name. it's Tough Sheet. It's called Tough Sheet. Apparently they're going fucking mad. Like the fans are not happy at all.
Tough Sheet is like a builder's supply or something.
Sheet arena.
Tough Sheet.
Brilliant. Thing is, Sullivan would sell it to the highest bidder. He wouldn't give a shit what the name was.
Oh, he wouldn't give a monkeys. But thankfully for us, it's not him in charge of that, is it?
No. I think it's going to be something really American. John will love that, wouldn't you?
Oh, mate, we're getting American. Mate, can't you see how it's going, though? They're taking
like Cheetos. Cheetos Arena.
No, it'd be something like Taco Bell. I mean, who eats Taco Bell?
I know. They don't eat that in America.
Well, I mean, we know Gary's half American. He loves American stuff.
I know.
What was he doing in Disney, running around with big ears on and that when he getting autographs off the cameras?
Right, let's quickly whiz through these last few questions.
Yeah.
So, Craven Moorhead, with the club now going to Australia in the summer, is this another indication that David Moyes may go? I'm not sure why that would be. He says why, because he doesn't like going abroad for pre-season. Or is he staying and it's been forced on him? Yeah, because David Moyes has been the one that's put the kibosh on a lot of that, hasn't he? So do you reckon that is an indicator? That's a good question, actually. Andy.
Well, I think it's. Go on, Andy. No, Andy, go. Go on, Andy.
No, I agree. I think it is an indicator. Like you said, I think, I think it's just a matter of time before he goes, and it would literally be like, do you remember when Allardyce, when we played Newcastle on the last day, and it was like he's gone. So I reckon it'll be like that. And like you said, this could be what the new manager wants.
Yeah, do you reckon it's like Sullivan's way of saying "fuck off"?
Yeah,
fuck off, Moisey. Right, John.
I don't think Moyes will want to go there anyway because he's got quite pasty skin, and I don't think he likes the heat.
He wouldn't survive it. He wouldn't survive it.
Yeah, Perth is the hottest place in Australia, isn't it? So I don't think he's going. And even if he was contemplating staying, he's like, I'm near fucking going over there, man. Oh, yeah, man.
I could go out there. I could go out there and stay with the Perth Killingtons. We've got some family out there, so I might fly out there.
But they don't like you either, do they?
Yeah, shut up. Right, Rain of Mine, Nick. We spoke about this earlier. Nick, did you see Sufal's interview on Hammers Chat? Some interesting comments regarding the new owner and old player friction. Moyes, will he get the sack? It's not my decision. Hardly an endorsement. But also about his brand of football as well. Yeah, it was quite bad. I mean, obviously you guys haven't watched it or seen the article, but it was pretty bad. What's your opinion on first of all, Andy? What's your opinion on Sufal? First of all, going out with this injury, and then I mean, not that he should have any loyalty to Moyes, because Moyes has just tried to flog him to Leverkusen, hasn't he? But what's your opinions on this from? I think it's quite refreshing to hear it. To be quite honest, that it's confirming what we all know, what we can all see.
I reckon Krasinski told him to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
I think it could be. I like it. Like you said, we knew a lot of stuff. We hear the rumours behind the scenes, how toxic it is, and
Yeah.
I think, like you said, the players are divided, and I just don't think. The one thing is though, they've never slagged the fans off, the
No.
players. Like you can
No.
tell how frustrated they are.
Moyes does. Moyes does.
Yeah, Moyes does. But I wanted him Sufal gone, but he was probably been one of our most improved players.
Well, he's gone from being uber shit to actually being all right. He's been all right again. You know, it's quite surprising.
So yeah, no, I back him 100%, to be honest, and I reckon, like you said, Kretinsky told him to go and do it.
Well, apparently he's got a relationship with Kretinsky. I didn't watch the whole video, but they were talking about there was a rumour that before Kretinsky bought in, because apparently Sufal knows Kretinsky. I know he wasn't a chairman of his Prague club because he played for Slavia Prague and Kretinsky owned the other one, Sparta. But apparently he knows him, and they and apparently they said to him in passing, put a word in for your mate Kretinsky about as a potential investor, and they apparently he was asked that in the interview, and he said yes, things have been said in jest, but I just like to concentrate on the football. He didn't dismiss it, so it does make you wonder whether and they went on to talk about the ownership as well, whether it is something that was it in Kretinsky's mind to always buy it and stuff like that. And like I said, I can't clarify all the detail on that Hammers Chat video. You'll have to go and watch it. But from what I've read from people, apparently yes, there's a lot of detail in there. So it's definitely worth giving it a watch, or finding someone Czech to interpret the actual article for you as well. That would be be good. What do you reckon, John?
I'd like to give a round of applause to Gonzo for getting an interview with Sufal. I think that's brilliant. He didn't get an interview with Sufal. Look, I would say when a lot of these international stars, firstly, when they go abroad, they do their interview in their native tongue, and a lot gets lost in translation, and you can always manipulate it, right? First of all. But secondly, I thought the club, if a club had a player who's injured, they can say no, can't they, that he can't travel to his international team?
That's what I thought, but apparently
Ferguson used to do it all the time. I mean, he was world-renowned for it.
Apparently the medical team from the Czech Republic can overrule it.
I can't see that. West Ham are his employer. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
You can't stop them. You can't force a player to not play for their country.
Well, I don't know. It's like, as an employer, I don't know. Obviously, football's got its own rules, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think Sufal's said anything we don't already know. And you're right. He doesn't really have any loyalty to Moyes, and why should he? Because Moyes, Moyes was trying to sell him, let's be honest. But a lot of fans were saying he should have been sold as well. So let's not be hypocrites about it. Yeah. And as Andy quite rightly said there, the last couple of months, he's been their best player. So much so that with Johnson and Kehrer stepping in Sufal's injury again, we've been praying for Sufal to come back. So
yes,
look.
I'll tell you what, John. Just pause there a minute. Do you know our mate Daniel DeCosta, who comments on our stuff all the time?
Yeah.
I'm being cheeky, Hamish Chat. Sorry, I'm reading one of your comments out on your video. So basically, what he said was, this is in response to that video. He said, "I got my girlfriend to read, who speaks Czech." He said he was asked why West Ham had been struggling, although reluctant to answer. Hang on, it's jumped. Although reluctant to answer, he said that it could be down to a few reasons: too many new players at once, and the fact that the players were having to play a style of football that the players disagreed with. He also indicated there was a rift between the new and old players due to the style of football each preferred to play. Said this had caused problems. It wasn't lost in translation. That was pretty much what he said.
Yeah, I mean, but we've said it for weeks, haven't we? That the players, they're not happy. Rice's body language after games interviews, not happy just with the manner of the performances, but the style of play they're being asked to play. We can see that. Yeah. It's interesting because we both listened to it the other day, didn't we? When Tim Sherwood, he took over at Villa, when they were fighting relegation all those years ago. I think it was back in 2014 or something. But he walked in there and he saw a team devoid of confidence, devoid of goals, and he just said, "I told them to go and enjoy themselves and take the shackles off." And he said to them, "What's the worst that can happen?" And they was all like, "Yeah, but we'll get relegated." And he went, "There's people dying in the world. Go out and show us what you do as a sport,
enjoy
as
your
a footballer,
football.
enjoy the game, and it worked. And I think there is an element of that our players seem to want to have. They want so many of our players seem to be holding back.
Yeah,
it's not a loss of form.
But
it's not a loss of form or anything. They're holding back.
But I think what he was saying there, I mean, that was a really good middle. I'm not a fan of Tim Sherwood, but what he said there made an awful lot of sense.
Across well there.
But what he said there made an awful lot of sense, and that's basically it. What he said was. Sometimes, you know, in these situations when managers have got themselves into that hole, and the players they get stuck in the rut, they get paralysed with fear. You know, they're not going out there to win; they're just scared of losing. And sometimes it's just a change is needed. You know, a change is what's needed. And probably as a new manager to come in and do what he did, it can work one of two ways. It can either go horribly wrong, and you can just continue your slide, or it can revitalise the team, and it can just set them free. You know, and in his case, it worked. But when you've got a situation at the moment where there isn't any teams that are falling away, you know, normally by this point, there's a team that are gone. You know, you look at Norwich last year. That's not happening this year. You know, there's 4 points between 12 places. And you can see a lot of teams are giving it a go. I mean, fighting. I mean, they're going out there to win. You know, if you look at the Wolves Leeds game, that was it was amazing. It was you know, that it was a brilliant game. They're going out there to win. You know, a win. If you're going, say for instance, you've got 3 games, right? Why are you playing for draws? Because if you play for a draw, you're not going to get a draw in every game. You know, just fucking play for the win. You know, you go out, you'll get one win like Bournemouth did against Liverpool. You know, just go out there every game, go out there to win it. And he said that's what he did with Villa, wasn't it? He said every game we went out to try and win it. You know, and that's got to be the approach. But we know that isn't going to be the case with Moyes.
No, and it's
a worry. That is a worry.
But then also what you got to remember is I said it the other week. Whilst the players are living in fear, Moyes has backed himself into a corner because he's become even more pragmatic than he was 3 months ago, because he's even more scared now of not getting a draw, because he's just in a situation, he's treading water. He doesn't know what to do for the best. He knows what to do, but he can't do it. Because we are still in that relegation battle, he's becoming even more pragmatic and even more, tactically defensive, or whatever you want to call it. Look, we have seen an upturn in form to some extent, and you could say, I know Nigel says it all the time, but we haven't lost to own this calendar year, January 23 or whatever. But the performances still haven't been good. One game against Forest, one 30 minutes against Forest. The performances still haven't been good. And what I mean by that is, haven't been exciting enough, going for it. Let's win a game here. Let's go for it. It's just, you know, it's never going to end.
And the thing is, we have got the personnel to be able to do that in a couple of games. We really have. You know, and like you said, I think we've got players in that. Well, we clearly have. You know, if you even if you listen to Sufal, you know, one of his criticisms when he was one of his other interviews that he's done, he said he's a player that prefers to go out and attack. He said that's what he prefers to do. So I think there's so many players that we've got that would relish an attacking game for David, and that's the thing. Why doesn't he just do that? You know, why doesn't he just kind of be refreshing? He might win a few of them back over before the end of the season.
Well, when did Sufal become shit? Because Sufal was very good when we was attacking well.
Yes, yeah.
Sufal
when we went uber defensive.
Yeah. But then the last couple of months, he's come into his own again, because who's been getting on the ball most?
Yeah, getting forward. Yeah, that's right.
I know he can't cross the ball a lot, with quality anyway.
No.
But you can see he enjoys getting on the ball and being more forward thinking.
See, I would change the system. I'd go Harry Redknapp 3-5-2. I think that will win us.
Yeah, we've been saying that. We've been saying that a while. I mean, I think that'd be brilliant but the thing is, if you go to Harry Redknapp 3-5-2, for that to actually work, what you need to do is you need to be playing, because if you think of the Harry Redknapp 3-5-2, for instance, we had Lazaridis and Sinclair wingers as the wide players. They weren't fucking fullbacks. They weren't wingbacks. They were wingers. That would mean Bowen out wide.
Yeah,
that would mean Bowen on the wing. Moyes is never going to do that. He's always going to have a defensive-minded player in those positions, because a lot of when in that Harry Redknapp system, it actually when it worked, which it did, it was that width. It was that. I mean, Sinclair was outstanding for us, wasn't he?
It was dynamic, wasn't it? It was dynamic width.
It was dynamic, you know. But yeah, no, I'll do that all day long, Andy. I think that was probably my favourite period of watching West Ham, to be honest.
So, see, I would play the midfield three of Rice, Fornals and Paqueta as the midfield three.
Same here.
I would love to see that. And like you said, Emerson left wing back or left mid, because I think he'll cover it. And I think Bowen would do it. Don't get me wrong, you'd lose a little bit of attacking. He's attacking and direct. You'll lose a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you have Ings and Skamaka,
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect combination. You've got that dynamic. But the question is then, where does Benrahma fit in? Do you play Rice?
Well, someone has to drop out. Someone has to drop out, and if it's for the greater good, like something like that, you would do it. I mean, even if you reverted Antonio back and you put Antonio right wing back and you put Bowen left wing back, so they're on their strongest side. You know, you don't know. Play them as conventional wingers, supplying balls into these two fucking strikers that we've got that we believe that can play with each other in Ings and Skamaka, the big man little man combo, with that energy and fucking creativity in the middle with Paqueta, Fornals, and Rice. How good would that be?
The funny thing is regarding Fornals, right? When we bought him, he was this new Spanish flair player.
Yeah.
Now you could say that he's been moised into a more industrious player.
He has been.
Okay, but the thing is, to play centre midfield, you need to be hardworking and industrious, and be full of energy. He's got that. And a bit of flair he's got as well.
He's got that in abundance. It'd be perfect in the middle. It'd be perfect in the middle.
Just to put it out there, I'm just thinking about it. You might think I'm stupid, but would that work putting Rice as the centre back with Zuma and Aguerd, and having Fornals, Paqueta, and Benrahma as the three? Then you've still got the bit of. Joe, if you need to go for it, you might as well go for it.
Yeah. It's not ridiculous because Rice sits so deep anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, even for England tonight, a lot of the times he was receiving the ball when he was like a centre back.
I know.
So it ain't a ridiculous idea at all. I can see
and he would carry the ball out of defence.
Exactly, he's got more confidence to carry it from deep. He likes carrying it from deep. Look, Andy, we're not laughing at you, mate. I don't disagree, but it will never happen.
No,
yeah,
I don't think he
watched the Southampton game now. I'm joking.
I don't think he wants to go back in defence either. No. I think that's part and parcel of it. I know you got to do what's right for the team, but I think Declan Rice is a little bit of a different story now. I think, although look, they have tweaked his position. I think we know that he was playing that more. He was trying to play the more marauding of the central midfielders, and his position has been switched back now. He's more of a CDM now. And do you know what annoys me with that? And this is something I will say, John, as well, with some of the criticism that he gets is unfair, because we got used to Declan Rice's marauding runs, getting forward, getting up the pitch, being high up the pitch, and then people have been saying, "No, you've got to get him back and sitting deep and shielding." But when he is just sitting back and shielding, which is what he's doing now, people are saying that he ain't playing well and he ain't affecting the game because he's just sitting back and shielding. Yeah, but he's not carrying the ball. He's not driving the ball up the field.
His job now, a lot of his job is just slowing people down.
That's all it is.
Getting back in position, getting a toe on the ball, breaking up play a little bit. He ain't there to carry the ball forwards anymore and do those marauding runs. But he can still do it, because there have been times this season where he's took the ball by the arms late in a game when we're chasing, and he's done it for that split moment. But overall, he's not allowed to do it, I suppose. He's told that's not wrong.
What you could do is put Downs in there and give him that licence, potentially.
Yeah, look, that Downs is another one. You know, it's just a waste of a. But it seems like a waste of a transfer again, because every time I've seen him play, Andy, and I'm sure you'd agree, he looks solid. He looks comfortable.
Do you know
when he's been played as the number 10 or something.
Do you know what the crazy thing is? I think that move that he almost got to Palace, I think would have suited him when it would have suited Palace more. He'd have been playing for Palace.
Yeah, maybe.
I think he would have done well for them. I know he's a West Ham lad, but ultimately, I think if he'd have known that this was going to be how it played out, he wouldn't have done it. You know,
don't know.
You wouldn't go.
You don't know if they've sold it to him. But you don't know if they've said, "Look, come in for this season. Rice will be gone, then you'll be promoted." You know, that might have been.
It could have been.
That might have been how they sold it to him.
It could have been right, but look, we've got a few more questions, but we're gonna wrap it up now because we're trying to get the time down on the Boozecast. So thank you very much for all the questions that have been sent in. Really, really good show. Nice, diverse topics there, wasn't it tonight? It was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was good. And thank you, Andy, for joining us, mate.
No worries. I really enjoyed it. If you need me in the future, I'm happy to come back on.
We'll be coming round yours. We'll be doing a live one from your pub.
Live.
You're only round the corner from John.
Yeah, you're nowhere near. You're nowhere near Secret Spud, Nick. You're nowhere near him.
Secret Spud. Fucking hate him. Hate him. And it's not an irrational hatred. It's perfectly rational.
You hate them that much that you moved next door to their training ground. Okay.
Yeah, I know. What can I say? I do get me dog to piss up their training ground, the fence every day. Though I do that. It's just part of my ritual. John, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was great. Really, really good. Also, what I will say, everyone, you know that we do us and Gatesy do a little bit together and stuff like that. I've been on the big debate on Gatesy's show. John is going on there next Tuesday as well. So yeah, don't forget to head over there and watch that, and give our man Gatesy a little bit of a subscribe as well if you can, because he's a good man. All right, does some good shows, and that's it from us. And we will see you again soon.
You only went on there because you thought it was a masturbate, didn't you?
Masturbate. I love a masturbate. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Right, coming you on. Speak to you soon.
Masturbate on screen.